And welcome to another episode of Live 605. I'm Con, aka Shave the Man. Don't know why I carry that name, but I just do. And I thank you for joining us again on today's live. We're all over the place, of course. We're streaming live to you on Facebook. We're streaming live on YouTube, believe it or not. And we're also streaming live on Periscope. Although I hear that it'll be more down Periscope than up Periscope, but that doesn't matter. That's all that matters here, of course, is that you have joined us for what is going to prove to be one of the dirtiest episodes you're ever likely to see on a live stream. Yes, today's episode is filth, absolute filth. In fact, so much filth that we'll have to clean it all up. We'll have to mop up. Well, you can, if you're new to this live stream, you're probably wondering what the hell you've stumbled upon. But if you are new, leave a comment below and type in new, and that way we'll know that you're a newbie. Of course, there are people that are coming in from all over the place. I ask you also that if you are looking at this from the Shave the Man group, that you must register by hitting that little link. Now, when you hit the link, and it's the top of whatever, I don't know where it is now, it's probably lost for all eternity. But if you hit that link, I can see who it is that's making the comments. Otherwise, it's very hard for me to respond. I'd like to know who I'm talking to. Some of you may not like to know who I'm talking to, but that's another story altogether. So please do that. That's only in the group. Apparently on the pages and everywhere else and on YouTube and the like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to register your interest and show us your mugshot, avatar, or whatever it is that you're getting around with these days. The thing that I'm getting around with these days, of course, is another espresso. Look, I'm a sucker for coffee. You know that. You should know it by now. And I'm going to have you watch me drink this espresso while I do it. It's wonderful. So hello to everyone. Look, thank you for joining us, Matt, Dave, Peter. It's always a pleasure to see you on the live. But it's probably... It's more my pleasure than it is yours. I don't know. Although you keep coming back, so that's a very nice thing. Remember, we'll try and put up as many comments as possible, and I'll try and answer your questions. This is about a Q&A, right? I'm also mindful of the fact that there are people on here that aren't into wet shaving, and that's fine. They're gluttons for punishment, though. They like to watch this show for one reason or another. I'm not quite sure what that reason might be, but you know, you get your kicks somehow. What I've got going here is I've got Facebook and things and comments coming up here. So when I'm looking around, it's not that I'm being rude, it's just that I need to see what's going on because I'm trying to control this whole thing, a number of decks and things. And one day, as I promised, it won't be next week or the week after, it'll be, you know, sometime in the future. I'll show you my setup and I'll show you what I've got here. But it's a little bit, there's quite a bit going on. You may also notice that the microphone is back. I just like having things like that in front of my face. It's a sense of security. So, hello to everyone. Thank you for joining the live. The question I'm going to ask today is an interesting one. Do you or do you not clean your shave brush? That's all I want to know. You know, put in yes or no. Are you a shave brush cleaner or not? I need to know. Put it in the comments. Let us know. Are you someone that cleans your shave brush? Yes or no? It's one of the age-old arguments that I get, and we see people that come in here, and I've seen people walk in with brushes in all stages of decay and vibrancy as well. So I'm not going to just say that the brushes are in decay, but some of them come in here and they look quite healthy. Look, there's a spoiler here. There's a spoiler. I believe you should clean them, but I'm also going to substantiate my claims and let you know why I think you should clean them. And this is also true. I mentioned this last week about makeup brushes. So the ladies out there that are using makeup brushes, my recommendation is that you also clean your makeup brushes. So this is true of most brushes that end up on your face somehow. Now, why doesn't that surprise me? Tom does not clean his brushes. In fact, if Tom could, he'd make everything dirty. So let us know, yes or no. Are you? I think we're getting some comments here now. Which one? Oh, Desi, yes, I clean my makeup brush. Love you. I love you too, Desi. I love you too. Yes, you should always clean your makeup brush. It's very, very important. It's critical. And I'm going to show you how I do it very quickly, because it'd almost be like starting a documentary on cheeses. If you've ever been to the UK, they seem to put on these documentaries on cheeses. Cheeses. This is where the cheeses. You're in Yorkshire and we're doing cheeses. This is not going to be like a cheesy documentary. I will try and give you as much value as I possibly can, and hopefully we will be able to drill down as to why you should do it and why I think it's important. And I know, and this is a misconception, that soap on a brush is soap. It's not. It is shaving soap, and its purpose is quite specific. So I wouldn't feel that just by using shaving soap that I'm actually cleaning the brush. It's not the same thing. And we'll talk a little bit about why it's not the same thing in a moment. Of course, let us know. Okay, yes, no. We've got a few no's. We've got a few yeses. It's good. I'm liking this. It kind of divides the. We're divided down the middle, which is pretty amazing, but not totally unexpected. There are two groups. It's also like the people that say, "Do you hang your brush up or do you stand it on its handle?" That's an argument that we could. I've actually changed my thoughts around that. About whether it needs to be hung up on a brush holder or not. Okay, in order for us to make any sense of this, we need to sort of drill down and have a look at what it is that we're talking about when we talk about a shave brush. This is a magnificent specimen of a shave brush. And this is one that you'll see looks like a mushroom cloud. It looks like it's kind of exploded, and it has done so because I look after the thing and clean it. And it blooms quite nicely. That's what this is called, this sort of blooming. It's blooming amazing. Okay, what do you want? You're going to get dad jokes? You're going to get puns? You know what you're up for. It's great. I actually think it's very, very good. It's really, really good for your brush to clean it, and we'll talk about it briefly now. This is, you'll notice, an animal hair brush or a badger brush. And these have a particular, Dave. No, Dave, you cannot have that brush. Dave's been wanting that brush for some time now. It's just one of those things. It's to watch that Hellenic god of shaving. Oh, come on, Con, you're only saying that because it's true. That's enough of that. Allow me to now descend into the natural fibres. Thank you, Lenny. Nice brush. Yes, I appreciate that. Let's sort of get a bit dirty and nasty now. I want you to see something here, and this is something that will that'll definitely show us what this is all about. If I can just get this bloody thing to work. It's not working. Here we go. All right. Now, this thing here, right, is a micrograph of a hair. Now you'll see there are a lot of scales there which are made predominantly of keratin. This has been blown up to sort of ungodly proportions. I think it's about a 10 micron magnification of a hair. Not at all dissimilar to the sort of hairs that you have on an animal hair brush. This is what the stuff looks like. And for those of you that are nostalgic, I'll show you a black and white image because there are a lot of people that love black and white. Me included. You'll note that there are these rough sort of striations and scales, and you can imagine that it's one of these things that over time will build scum. Okay, it's out. If you use shave soap, you're mucking around with scum. You can unpack that any way you like. So what's going to happen with water and with this shave soap, it's going to impregnate or at least attach itself to those barbules. For those that want it, there it is, the colour picture, you can see it again. So you can imagine how those little sort of scaly bits will actually start to hold the soap. Over time, this becomes a problem because what happens is that the brush Makeup brushes included, although makeup brushes are slightly different because we're using dry application with makeup brushes. But what you'll find is that these fibers will start to adhere together. And with a shaving brush in particular, that's not something we want. We want these to move freely and to function the way they're supposed to. And this is something that I've had discussions time and time again with people about whether they should clean their brush or not, or whether, I've seen no difference. And they've got 8,000 brushes in their collection. Of course, you've seen no difference. You rotate through so many brushes, you're probably never going to get to creating enough scum, scale, and residue. And there are some soaps which are more guilty of producing this residue than others. So not all soaps are equal. Some tallow formulations will tend to create a build-up a lot faster. Some vegan formulations will also create that. Paraso is notorious for build-up. It also builds up in your basin. But it is what it is. Let me show you something else that is what it is. This is another beautiful picture. These are actually quite beautiful if you don't really think that what they are is fibers and hairs. These is all there's a science website which I will attach to the comments below, where you can see these images for yourself. This actually happens to be a horse hair. And of course, horse hair was used before the First World War. And this is something that I want to talk to you very briefly for those history buffs out there. But they abandoned using horsehair in brushes because of anthrax. Now, anthrax is a horrible, horrible, nasty disease. The anthrax spores live in soil, and horses, of course, would come into contact with soil, they'd roll around. It would get into their tail, it would get into their mane, and these spores, then these brushes would then be made out of horsehair, and when you were using them on your face, particularly after you've cut your face, these spores would get into the skin, and you would get these sort of horrible anthrax sores. This is subcutaneous anthrax, mind you, because you can breathe the stuff in, but this is the stuff that gets into your skin. And it would you would have necrosis occur, which is the blackening and the darkening of the skin. It's particularly nasty. So they stopped using horsehair during the First World War, sort of 1914, 1920s, something like that. Now, if you are an antique brush collector, please be very, very careful if you've got brushes that are pre-1920s. Now, how do you date those? Well, if you buy them from a reputable dealer, they'll be able to tell you what year they're from. Anything from 1930 onwards is okay, but anything before that, they may have some residue of anthrax in them. And people will be asking, what, after all these years? Yes, these spores lie dormant, and they can cause all sorts of problems. So this is why horsehair went out of sort of fashion, and now it's kind of come back in again. So cleaning is another thing that also helps sanitize and neutralize any of the bugs that may reside in your brush. And let me tell you, there are quite a few nasties that reside in brushes. And this is why I have a bit of a problem with, if you're going to buy brushes from someone, be very, very careful. Make sure that they're sanitized. And speaking of sanitation, please do not ever, never, ever, ever boil a brush or steam it or put it in formaldehyde. You don't do any of those things because it will destroy the brush. And particularly if it's an older brush, the thing will fall apart. And then there'll be tears before bedtime, and we don't want that, do we? So, yes, it's very, very important that you clean your brushes. I'll show you that. I'll demonstrate that very quickly. But there's also something that I'd like to show you that I think it should be part of everyone's brush collection, whether it's a kabuki makeup brush or whether it's a shaving brush, and that's one of these. I don't know if you can see that. We're going to have problems with autofocus. It's like a pet hairbrush, right? Let me just get that. So it's like a brush that you use for pets. It's also great for paintbrushes. This is what, in fact, you can get these at a hardware that will remain nameless, but that will beat at any price by 10% if you find it cheaper. You can find these, and these are very good. They're metallic, they're quite sharp. You can get ones with a finer comb and a broader comb. I like to use this, and what I do with my brushes from time to time while I'm watching Netflix, but not watching maths, is this. I just work the brush. If I can just show you, just start at the tips very, very lightly, okay? And it's sort of just, we work all the way into, you can see that, very, very lightly. The temptation is to go in there and just let it rip. Please don't do that. You'll destroy the brush. Once you've found that you've loosened up enough of the come on. Once you've found out that you've loosened that up quite nicely, then of course you can sort of get in there and do that. That's always a good thing. If you don't do that, you might end up with what they call the old friar's patch, or the sort of that little bald spot. See that? And that's just knotting that occurs in there. And so what I would do is just very, very lightly comb that through, and voila. Okay, so let's talk, that was all the dry stuff. Let's talk about the wet and dirty stuff. What you will need is just a nice tumbler, glass, mug, whatever, soup bowl, anything, maybe stuff that you have fur in, whatever you want. Just warm water. Stay away from the hot water. There's a temptation to want everything in there with hot water. Don't do that. Okay, you're going to destroy your brushes if you do that. Just warm water, lukewarm water. And what I do is put in some detergent, or you can use this stuff. It seems to work. It's the brush cleaner, and it does work. It's no BS. It's the real deal. What I do is put in a few drops, like so. That's it. That's all you need. And you'll see that it forms these wonderful groovy lava lamp-like swirls. And then take your brush and just whack it in there and do the old sort of swirling around, and leave it in there like that for about 30 minutes, okay? Pull it out, give it a bit of a, just play around with the fibres a bit. You know, you guys all play with the fibres. Ladies, there are some people on this live that are sick. They're not well. They're not well. They also sniff their brushes too. There's another thing we can talk about. It's another disorder that occurs. So, yes, leave it in there for 30 minutes. I also do this with new brushes, particularly of this variety that are a boar brush. Boar brush smells like wet dog. And it will go eventually after some use, but there's a lot of stench. If you like the smell of wet dog, some people do, let's face it. Although we've had a lot of water lately, I really feel for the people that have gone through this horrific thing. But anyway, I'm not going to make light of that. But here, in this instance, with this boar brush, these things stink, right? They're not very pleasant. So you either have to use them to remove that stench, or accelerate the process by using some of the brush cleaner. Some of our brush cleaners got wonderful oils and things in it, peppermint oil, and yeah. Oh, yes, boar brush. Yes, that's right. That brush is a boar, although there are people that live with it. Yes, Mark, horsehair stinks as well. Love horses. Really have used some great horsehair brushes. Typically 65 mane, 35% tail. The tail tends to gives it a bit more backbone. The mane is the nice soft thing, but they do smell. Anyway, that was my limitation of a horse. So yes, 30 minutes, take it out. I repeat, I sort of do it again, and I do this with my brushes every 12 weeks, okay? If a particular brush is getting a lot of use, then obviously I might do it every 6 weeks. If it's a brand new brush, I do it before I even start. When it's a new brush, wash your new brushes, please. Please, please, please wash your new brushes, and especially wash new brushes that you've bought from someone that's been using it. Not that there's anthrax around, but you know what I mean. It's one of those things. Time for some espresso. And I wonder why I can't sleep at night. Okay, who have we got on the live here? We've got soak them overnight. Yes. Over the overnight thing, yeah. I did that. I'd rather you did a frequent, like you did a second and third wash. You saw how many sort of things I did. You can see that this water is getting cloudy. Can you see that? It's clouding up, right? That's because all the soap is being released from that brush. Yes, you can leave it overnight. I don't like leaving anything overnight. It's just me. Anyway. So you can do a rinse repeat if you like. So new brushes you buy on buy, sell and trade groups. If you're so inclined, I am not, then I would give them a good wash. Don't stick them in the microwave. Don't boil them. Don't put them in a pressure cooker. Don't do anything. Buongiorno, signore. I don't know where from Italy you are. All I know is that you're a Facebook user. Yes, we're all users, aren't we, in our own way? Anyway, it'll all come in. Johnny Buzuki. Johnny the Buzuki. And speaking of Buzuki, is that Nat? Is that Nat I can see there? Oh, my God, Nat. Natty. Oh, I love Nat. Poor Nat almost was knocked off her feet the other day in a traffic incident. People were trying to get somewhere real quick, and Nat said, I've had enough of this, I'm going home. Yes, Nat. I love you. So any other comments, let me know. Leave them below. I'll try and get to them as quickly as possible. Hello to David Gonzalez. He said it's midnight there. It's way past your bedtime, is it, David? I know you're up late at night. Greetings to the people that are following us and watching this on YouTube as well, which is wonderful. Hey, I love you too. I'm blushing. And that ain't the rosacea either. You're a beautiful person. Okay, let's talk about the funk, right? There's some funk other than the stench that you get from new brushes. Sometimes I'm going to pick up this brush because I know it makes someone drool. Sometimes you may feel that the brush has a bit of a moldy scent to it. Okay, either through inadequate drying, or it's been put away too soon, or you travelled with it, put it in your dot bag, got home, forgot to bring it out. Then you look at it and you think, oh boy, and no amount of washing will bring it out quick enough. Eventually it will, but not quick enough. In that instance, where you suspect that there may be some mold, I would use boric acid or borax, a little bit of a water solution, and mix it in there and do a similar thing. Turn it into a paste, bit sort of more granular in consistency than a toothpaste, and just give it a good work through the bristles, and let it sit there for a while, and repeat that as well. And that borax will kill anything that's in that brush. I would then clean the brush using something like that. So after you've done the borax treatment, I would then clean the brush as you normally would, like this brush here that's now creating some mystique. We love the mystique. And then put it on your face. Don't know that I'd be putting borax directly on my face. They say it's harmless. You try saying that to a bull ant. It's another way of getting rid of ants. And I know Nat can chime in here because that's her life. She gets rid of all the bull ants in life. No, she doesn't. She loves ants. She loves all bugs. But boric acid is actually a very, very good thing. Bram, good morning, sir. Yes, from... where are we? What else? What other comments have we got here? Soak them overnight. That's about it. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So leave a comment below if you're new. Some are new but used. Others are not used, not new or anything. But I think it's agreed. Yes. Thank you, Nat. Nat is a professional when it comes to ridding us of arachnids and other arthropods. The Netherlands, yes, brand from the Netherlands. Beautiful place, the Netherlands. I wish I could get there at some stage, but we're not going anywhere at this stage. So let us know, do you clean your brush using any of these techniques? I know some people said that they love using a brush cleaner, of which I'm indebted and very, very grateful. Some of the ladies that are on here, perhaps, you can tell us and let us know how you clean your blush brush, your kabuki, and your makeup brush. They need to get a bit of a workout as well. I don't want to go back to those micrographs that have been blown up, 20 microns, but there's some pretty nasty stuff that ends up on fiber and on bristle. You've got to keep them clean, okay? And yes, there are dust mites that have intercourse on your face at night, but they're so microscopic you don't know it, so you can't join in. Tom Nash is new. Yes, he's as new. Time for some espresso again. I'm sorry. Look, I shouldn't really be doing. Look, yeah, I tuned into this live, and this guy just kept drinking coffee. Well, okay. So that's it. Clean your brushes. Please clean them. It's just good practice. Do you have to clean them every week? No. Some people do. I wouldn't. It's overkill. But the not cleaning them, I believe, and I have found, will firstly diminish the life of the brush, and it'll also affect the quality of lather produced. And in the case of all my makeup brushes, because there's something I have to tell you. Sometimes I wear makeup. It's an official lie. Well, I do. Actually, I have worn makeup when I've done videos, but not on this occasion. This occasion, I want you to see me in all Technicolor, all 4K. So all that stuff needs to be clean. You need to just clean it. It's just basic. It's common sense, really. Guys, thank you. I really feel wonderful that you managed to join us. I think it's pretty. I'm chuffed and honoured that you have lent me some of your bandwidth. Look, let's face it, the news is pretty depressing, and this is about news time, and I get really like, floods here, this and that, things happening in Parliament, governments treating the public with disrespect and all this sort of stuff. I'm sick of it. And the same is Europe. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. The people are revolting. They are revolting. Not people are revolting. Well, some people are revolting, aren't they? Anyway. But there is a revolt. The masses are revolting because they've had enough. So why not watch a live stream? Anyway, thank you. Thank you very, very much for watching the stream. I stream, you stream. We all kind of stream now. Get into a bit of streaming. Do it. It's very, very good for you. It cleanses the soul. Lenny, thank you. You're hot. We love you too. I love you so much. There's so much love here that it's getting quite viscous and a bit syrupy, isn't it? The whole thing. We're wading through all this love. Deal with it. You're only going to get positivity here. Oh, Natty, thank you. Always informative and love them. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I mean that. I mean that sincerely. Anyway, I better go before I gush further, and we wouldn't want that, would we? Thanks for watching the live. We'll see you in the next one. And thank you to all of those. I'll try and answer your questions underneath in the comments. I'm sorry if I didn't get to everybody, but that's just, it is what it is. See you in the next live.